There's nothing to worry about. You're gonna be just fine. I'm your #1 fan.
He just goes a little mad sometimes. We all go a little mad sometimes.
Whatever you do, don't fall asleep.
Listen, asshole!
No, you listen, you little bitch. You hang up on me again, I'll cut you like a fish.
You know, it's Halloween. I guess everyone's entitled to one good scare, huh?
What an excellent day for an exorcism.
I am Dracula.
I am eternal child. I am the eater of worlds and of children.
All right. We are live on the air.
Live and in color.
Live and in living color. Welcome to episode 7 of Nights of Horror Radio, live here on twitch.tv/The Nights of Horror. I'm your host, Anthony, and with me, probably going to be with me most summer nights. I'm excited. Have him back. The co-host, the original, the OG, Mr. Samuel Martinez. How you doing, Sammy?
Thank you. It was a pleasure, as always, to be back. It's always a good time, a great time, some would say, to hang out with you all.
Yeah, indeed.
My second appearance, first full show of NOH Radio. So excited to listen to some tunes and scratch some horror.
Yeah, man. You know, like you always say, we're here for a good time, not a long time. So let's dive right into the breaking news of this week in the haunt realm, and we're gonna start right off the bat with Universal Studios Halloween Horror Nights out here in Hollywood. Dead Exposure, Death Valley, an original maze going to be at Halloween Horror Nights this year in Hollywood. From what I've heard, this was already something that's been done in Orlando that was an original, and now Murdy's going to take his own spin on it. Death Valley is the location of the setting for Dead Exposure. And right off the bat, you know, me and Hayes have been playing a lot of Fallout New Vegas lately. Immediately, that's the first thing that came to mind when we started seeing construction photos for this maze, especially because, you know, it's going to be right there in the Mummy queue, so that's usually a good location for mazes, and to see what this is now, you know, I mean, I'm excited. Like right off the bat, just seeing the artwork of this kind of mutated human with like this brain with wires coming out and everything, red eyes, all that stuff. I don't know what to think, honestly. Like, I don't know what we're in for. Like, right off the bat, any thoughts or theories behind that?
Yeah, definitely some thoughts. It's the Mummy queue, so we've gotten some standout top 3 maze for the year, easily. Top 3. We've got Killer Clowns there. We've got Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So that location usually delivers. It's a small footprint, but what they do with that footprint is always a good time. So I'm excited for that. I haven't seen too much details because I've been staying off social media, but I haven't really got to see the facade and what that looks like or what's conjuring up there. But based upon the limited glimpses I have gotten, it looks like it's going to be sick. And the little promo they got for it, the little picture, obviously we don't get like a full promo like we would get on the IPs, or at least what we've been getting for the last few years with IPs. But I liked the picture, the little bumper they gave us to tease it looks sick. And I think it has all the makings to be a relatively scary and terrifying house come this year.
Now, this is confirmed from Rob right here that this is an accurate photo of what it looks like after the pre-workout kicks in. So, you know, Rob, you know, he's always clanging and banging. You know, 5 a.m. workouts right there. He's the man. Also, I want to give a special shout out to Social Mimi Cry. Thank you for the follow. Highly appreciate it. And welcome to Nights of Horror Radio. Vocal Penguin 108, first time chatter. What is up? Nice to see you stop by to Nights of Horror Radio. Appreciate it. Thank you for listening in. We're talking all things Halloween Horror Nights right now, specifically the latest maze announcement for Universal Studios Hollywood. Dead Exposure, Death Valley. I have the John Murdy tweets, and what better way to kind of dive deep into this one than by the man himself. So we'll read through some of this stuff, get an idea of what this story is and what we're going to be walking into. So let's read through some of this, and we'll see what happens. Dude, I'm hyped, no lie. It's going to be it looks like it's going to be a fun one. Let's see what the maze has to offer for us this year. As for the facade, that big opening isn't the entrance to the house. Something has crashed through the front of it, which you'll view from outside and inside the house. It will continue to evolve in the coming weeks as details get added. So there's some tasty tidbits for you. As for the radiation contamination, that's kind of drawn from real life experience. I was an exchange student in Europe in college in 1986 and was actually in the Soviet Union during the Cold War shortly after the Chernobyl accident. Crazy but true. Wow. Ain't that something, huh? You learn something new every day from John Murdy. Aside from the obvious connection to the Orlando HHN houses, the house is trying to tap into the existential fears of our times, as the genre of horror has always done. Namely, all the online theories on secret military labs and the speculation on what takes place inside. So, I don't know, dude. I mean, when you look back at the history and the past of, you know, HHN Hollywood doing an Orlando original, I'm going really, the only one I can think of at the top of my head, probably the only one right now, is Scarecrow. There's probably been other ones, but, you know, Scarecrow is at the top of the list. Scarecrow, I mean, you and I we really enjoyed that one. I think that was probably the best maze that year, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't remember what else came in 22. I remember Scarecrow, but I don't remember what else. Oh, was that La Llorona?
Yeah, La Llorona was there too.
Yeah, that's up there for me too. But because I knew it was either 1 or 2 in my book that year. I think La Llorona was 1, but I have a soft spot for that, so I recognize my bias. But Scarecrow was another top 5 all time that I've gone through easily. Just from beginning to end, from facade to exit, it delivers. And so I'm expecting the same thing with Dead Exposure. I've yet to be let down by an original maze from Horror Nights. Obviously, I'm a novice. I haven't been going as long as some other people have. But in the this would be year 5 for me going. Shout out 2020 for not giving us one. But this would be, I would have gone 5 times. But out of the previous times I've gone, I mean, the only original I was sort of let down by, but I give them the break, was Universal Horror Hotel. But I give them the break because I think that, as we've covered on our YouTube channel time and time again, and as we've said probably every time I bring up this house, that was Evil Dead Rise, but it just got reskinned. So, only ever let down. But once we got Evil Dead Rise, I thought it delivered. So,
yeah,
I'm excited for Dead Exposure.
Dead Exposure should be fun. Vocal Penguin just said, John said earlier this year that he was working on the scariest house/maze he has ever done. Do you think it's Dead Exposure? And he said this also on X. You know, it's funny. There could be, I mean, we've only gotten 2 house announcements this year so far for Halloween Horror Nights out here in Hollywood, and that's A Quiet Place and Dead Exposure. Being that, you know, Murdy seems to have a real life history with, you know, Chernobyl and, you know, radiation and kind of that aspect of things, you know, it probably was scary for him because it was probably a scary time in his life, a scary experience in his life. But I don't know. I mean, we have a lot. What do we usually get? Like 8, 9 mazes. So we still got the rest, like 80% to go of mazes to still be announced. And you know, majority obviously are going to be IPs. So, you know, until we know what those IPs are, you know, it could be a lot of things. But, you know, there's a lot of speculation out there as to what they could be. You know, we're just trying to cater to what we see from the facts of construction photos, videos, and what we see via Halloween Horror Nights on Twitter and John Murdy on Twitter, or X, I'm sorry. But Dead Exposure, I'm actually very excited for this one. I think it's going to be definitely a fun time, and I am really looking forward to seeing what they can pull off with this one. There's a lot to be pulled from, especially if you're tapping into that like secret government facility kind of thing. You know, that's going to be a lot of fun. We can see a lot of things. There could be Easter eggs if they even wanted to put them in there, but you know, I'm going to go on the limb and say this is going to be a group of like zombie super soldiers or something like that. Maybe with some alien tech. Who knows?
Yeah,
Possibilities are endless.
Only time will tell. And maybe if we're lucky, set up Midsummer Scream, we might get a deeper look into this guy. So.
Yeah, that could be one he does like a whole presentation on, and we know that he's known for giving us an announcement usually. Track record shows, for the most part, it seems like it's been a majority of the announcements that I've seen with him at Midsummer Scream has usually been around the Parisian Courtyard, because he can usually announce the scare zone with it. I know he's done that a few times. He doesn't do that every time, but I would say like the majority of times that he's done a presentation, he's done that location at least, I think, more than others, should I say. So the track record could be there. We could possibly get a maze announcement. I think we're going to get a maze announcement for sure, but I don't know what it is. I don't know what it's going to be. But I can guarantee you we're going to get an inside look at one of these mazes. I kind of really hope it's this one, because I'd like a little bit more backstory going into it before I go into it, you know? And
usually in years past, we can get to Midsummer Scream eventually on it, because I know that's something we also want to touch on our agenda.
Right.
But usually, and if I'm recalling correctly, he's usually always done 2 mazes, like a little bit of a deep dive.
Right.
And what comes to mind is when they did Universal Monsters at the Mummy Q, he did do an in-depth look at that one.
Right.
And he's also has a track record of doing the Parisian Courtyard. So maybe we'll get both. We'll get a little bit of a look at this guy, little in-depth look, and then maybe whatever is coming to Parisian Courtyard, we'll also get a
little
announcement, look. An announcement and a little look into that as well. Because he also, if I think back to just last year, Monstrose was in Parisian Courtyard. He did that. The Bride of Frankenstein
Lives.
Parisian Courtyard did that. So yeah. I think we're cooking with some fire here.
Did he announce La Llorona there too?
I don't remember.
Or did he go into depth about La Llorona there?
I don't remember if he did go depth about La Llorona.
I don't remember. I think that would have been 2 years ago, 22, right?
Yeah, it would have been 22. I don't remember.
Yeah. Well, regardless, I think it's going to be not only a great Midsummer Scream panel. He's going to be in 2 panels this year, and we'll talk a little bit about that in a sec. But we got Murdy for 2 panels, Midsummer Scream weekend, and then it seems like so far, at least in my opinion, I'm liking what I'm seeing this year for Halloween Horror Nights. I mean, I'm very excited to see what they pull off with The Quiet Place. You know, they're using a lot of new tech for this one. And they're really breaking into the American Sign Language, so that's going to be really cool to see the actors pull that off. And what the creatures look like from that's going to be cool. And then Dead Exposure, I mean, so far it's really good with an IP and an original announcement. So I'm excited to see both these so far, and they're pretty high up on the hype list as of right now. Obviously, there's only 2, but right now they're pretty high up there just because of the theming of them and stuff. So, all right, Queen Mary's Dark Harbor, Sammy. So a lot's happened since you've been a little absent, but I know you've been keeping up yourself here and there. Dark Harbor is back. We've been covering it like crazy. We are super excited for it. Didn't think we'd see the day, and this was the year that they were like, we're bringing it back. A lot has been announced, you know, characters returning, all that fun stuff. Today, as of freshly today, they announced the first maze for the event, and that was Lullaby. Now Lullaby, yeah, Josue, shout out Josue. If you guys know anything from Lullaby, it has been at the event prior, so the name is not new. I think what they're going to be trying to do here is reimagine it and make it a brand new experience. It seems like from the trailer that we're about to show you guys right here, it is definitely, it seems terrifying. And it looks like Dark Harbor is trying to tap into that scariness that was Dark Harbor. I mean, it's already eerie being on the ship, and it just being there, knowing that it's haunted and everything. But to have that aspect of the haunt realm in there, it just adds a whole new level of fear as to what's real and what's not. And Lullaby, I think, really tapped into that fear well. Now, I've done the actual Grey Ghost ghost hunt tour. That's a lot of fun. Learned a lot of actual facts about that. So that was cool. And to see kind of Dark Harbor's take on taking a lot of these sinister tales, or even just making them up and turning them into like this twisted, scary thing, it's terrifying. So we're gonna look at this new trailer that I have here for Lullaby at Dark Harbor 2024, and then we're gonna talk a little bit about it, and then give our thoughts, opinions, and then we'll go from there. I mean, I love the fucking newspaper articles and shit they have in here. They really went all out with this. Oof. That's a good little jump scare. Scary Mary is back at Queen Mary's Dark Harbor, and she's here to terrorize all the guests once again. I specifically remember that hallway scene that they showed in this video of her going back and forth, which at that time it looked like kind of individual showers. But they had multiple actors going back and forth and running across, scaring the shit out of guests. It was terrifying. To see kind of that aspect play a role in this trailer tells me that we're going to see that scene return, hopefully. And just to see the return of Scary Mary. And she kind of looks like she has a new updated look a little bit, kind of like a remastered look in that sense of like, taking a video game and then remastering it to make it look way better. I'm not saying there was anything wrong with her, but this is looking like this is 13th Floor's version of her. So I'm excited to see what they kind of do, if they kind of tweak some things with certain characters as far as their looks go, their backstories go. I know that the Ringmaster is, it looks like the original Ringmaster and stuff. Same thing it looked like with the Captain. I don't know who's going to be playing the roles. If a lot of these people that have played them in the past come back to reprise them, that would be incredible. But regardless, if people have what it takes and there can be the next generation to step up and do the character their way and really win the people over, by all means, I'm always for it. I'm always a fan of, a big fan of to see what the next generation can bring to the table. And I have not been disappointed one bit since. So I'm excited to see what they do with this Dark Harbor stuff. But what are your thoughts, man? I mean, Dark Harbor coming back, this is huge news for 2024. And then, Lullaby coming back, that's another big breaking news segment right there.
Yeah, I'm mixed on this one. I'm excited that the event is returning under its original name, as Queen Mary's Dark Harbor. I will say I'm coming in a little eerie with a little bit of caution, because it is 13th Floor doing it, and peace and love to 13th Floor, but LA Haunted Hayride has not delivered.
Now, I brought that up a few weeks ago in Nights of Horror Radio about, and you're someone that can speak on that because you were right there with me from 2019 till today. I'm hoping with the return of Dark Harbor, they've learned from the mistakes that went wrong with LA Haunted Hayride and can do it differently this time to not make the same mistakes they did with Hayride. Luckily for Hayride, I will say last year was a big improvement as far as talent went. It felt like they were a little bit more aggressive, had a little bit more freedom to do more things, and I really like that aspect of things. But I'm with you on that. Like, I'm a little nervous going into this year because of the 13th. I like to call it somewhat the 13th Floor curse.
Yeah, no, I concur with that statement because I like the vision of 13th Floor. Every year I leave Midsummer Scream going. I like the vision of what's going to happen. I liked the vision. I've liked the vision every single year going into LA Haunted Hayride. But the issue is, I think there's a like peace and love. Having spoken to a few different scare actors in the industry, there's a culture issue.
Yeah.
And with that culture issue becomes lack of performance, unfortunately. And with that, you may have the greatest idea in the world, but if you don't have the talent to now execute that idea, or the talent to feel comfortable enough to execute that idea, then it's gonna be a letdown. I know that I believe if I remember correctly, they did do Shacktoberfest, correct? That was 13th
Yeah,
floor.
they were the big producers behind that.
Yeah, and I know that you've gone to Shacktoberfest,
Yeah, both
and you
years.
said over the years, every year it did improve.
Yeah.
So they've already had a vision of working on the Queen Mary. First year we had no ship. Last year we had some ship, and I'm hoping with this year we're taking an additional step forward with additional parts of the ship. An additional just returning cast from Shacktoberfest, additional returning cast from Dark Harbor because I know that some people may have been leaving their other positions at other venues to come back to the ship. So I definitely think there's a lot of things going to it, but I'm hesitant to go jumping at 100% saying this is going to be the greatest event or it's going to be a repeat of Dark Harbor of old.
You know, I completely 100% agree. It happened with Hayride. I think Shacktoberfest, and I brought this up as like a fan theory. It's probably not true even 100%, but it's cool to speculate on it. But I always thought that maybe last year's Shacktober was kind of that overall test to see if Dark Harbor can work again, because a lot of elements of Dark Harbor were in Shacktoberfest last year, especially having a maze on the ship and everything. That was a lot of fun. That gave me huge nostalgia vibes of Dark Harbor, and I was just so excited to go through a maze on the ship again. I think as construction and things are starting to build up and that ship is starting to get the repairs that it needs, still needs a lot of repairs, but I think with events like this, I mean, even the mayor of Long Beach came out and said this is a huge draw for tourism. Like, a lot of people come out and spend a lot of money to go to Dark Harbor, and everything. I think this is great. This could be a great financial opportunity for the Queen to raise that money to do those repairs, to make it pristine again, and to keep the ship as original as they possibly can, so we can keep having events like this and whatnot with the Queen Mary. I'm very I'm super excited because I bring up a lot on Nights of Horrors. Remember where you came from. Dark Harbor, and I will never forget this. Dark Harbor were the first people to give us an opportunity at attending an event as press, and I just am always incredibly grateful for that, for them to even give us that opportunity. That was huge for us, and that night we really stepped up and put the work in and stuff. So I'm just so excited for this event to come back, and I can't wait to see what they do. Slider show again, hopefully. There's a lot of stuff that I want to see that was at Dark Harbor come back to this new rebranded Dark Harbor with the Spirits Rise. So we'll see. I mean, I know they just had some auditions. They just had a big hiring event. If you guys are interested in auditioning to Dark Harbor, and if they're still accepting applications, go check out their website. You'll get more info there. And if you guys want to be a part of the crew or the team, and like I said, if they're still accepting applications, do it. Have fun. But yeah, I think it's gonna be a fun time. It's gonna be a fun haunt season, I think.
Yeah, I think so too.
Should be a good one. All right, Sammy, the breaking news out of last night. Monday Night Raw. Now, we don't, everyone knows you and I, more me, but you as well, we're really big wrestling fans. We watch all the premium live events on Peacock, the exclusive streaming service of the WWE Network. Got to throw that out there. Beat Sammy to it. And we watch Monday Night Raw and SmackDown every single week. I keep up with NXT and all that. I think you keep up every now and then if something interests you. And professional wrestling is probably at the best state it's ever been in years. Years. I mean, I'm talking probably even decades. It is the best time to be a wrestling fan right now. Specifically, and if you're a haunt fan or a horror fan, specifically last night's segment, the way the show went off the air, probably one of the greatest cinematic, storytelling, story-driven debuts of a faction I have ever seen in the history of this company. And that's saying a lot because there's been amazing Hall of Fame, outstanding factions in WWE. But this right here, I'd have to say, this brought me to tears. I think more or less because of the meaning behind it, of Bray Wyatt and of the passing of Bray Wyatt, how that was a really tough loss for the world of wrestling. And for them to continue the story after months of build-up, man, and then to see them all in costume, their masks, everything, man, it was special. It was.
Yeah, I agree. It was a great segment. If you haven't watched it, go ahead and check it out. Even if you're not a wrestling fan, if you are a fan of horror and things of the spooky nature, I would recommend giving it a look because there's just so much liberties taken from various horror films and just horror in general. If you're not familiar with wrestling, Bray Wyatt, a kind of originator of the idea, passed away, but he was working on this prior to his passing, and really just the passing of the torch last night. And super excited to see what this looks like. I was obviously very excited when Bray Wyatt made his return to WWE at the end of 2022 at Survivor Series. And now that we're almost 2, but it's the Wyatt 6, but there's 5 members, but spelled like there's a lot into it. Don't want to bore you with all the details, but super fun, super spooky, and the way that it was shot too. If you're a fan of horror movies, I wish more films took liberties like this. The way that they did the one shot, basically following, as you went deeper and deeper into the lore of what was happening. So I thought it was super sick. And I know that we talk a lot about like the professional haunt world, specifically not Scary Farm and Horror Nights. So if they could take some of these types of elements and incorporate them into houses and mazes going forward, I think it can really help bring the game to another level.
Dude, yeah.
And just all of the storytelling leading up to it was super sick. So like if they can have like some of that in pre-shows as you're waiting in line, just kind of giving you that lore and deeper understanding. It's something like I had liked to, like just going on a haunt perspective, like at Not Scary Farm, at the Mystery Lodge zone. Like as you like were like queuing up there, how they have those little clips and stuff playing. It kind of gave me that type of vibe to just help you enter into it. So I think that's a step that many professional haunts could do.
Right. No, and you know, our good buddy over there at the Haunt Line had brought up an interesting fact today. This was huge. I didn't realize how many people in the community watched wrestling after seeing this debut last night, you know, and people sharing it. It was really cool to see everyone into it. But Hauntline said, you know, Orlando's doing a scare zone very similar to the masks that we saw with the Wyatt 6 last night. So he says like the bones are already there, bro. Like all we got to do is just build on that for a full-on maze. And for those who are Horror Nights history buffs, it wouldn't be the first time Halloween Horror Nights had teamed with the WWE for a Halloween attraction at their event. Yes, you heard that right. WWE had a maze at Halloween Horror Nights based around the iconic character, The Undertaker. It was interesting, to say the least, but yeah. However, I feel like nowadays, especially with the realism of this story, the horror elements of this story, this would translate a lot better than an Undertaker Maze did in the 90s. I think.
Yeah, I could not agree more.
Yeah. And,
I-
yeah.
And I think there's so many more characters to build off of because you have the 5 new characters. Obviously, Uncle Howdy is taken back from the original storyline with Bray there.
Right.
You have Bray Wyatt. You have the Fiend. There's so many different looks of the Fiend in general. If you wanted to take it back even to earlier Bray Wyatt stuff, you could do that. But there's just a lot to build off of. And I'm now going beyond this. I'm excited to see how this storyline progresses. Do they continue into the macabre nature of what they've built? And how does that translate to a weekly wrestling show? Because you can't just go kill people every week for the next 6 months.
Let's just be honest. Chad Gable's supposed to be in a triple threat next week for Money in the Bank qualifying match. After seeing the bullet to the head, buddy, I don't think he's going to make it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how they play this one, so I'm excited to see how that plays.
Man, yeah, I think, and that was a thing that they talked about on Busted Open today, is like, if you're going to do these characters supernatural or anything, they have to have, each of them has to have a weakness. Now, they're not necessarily doing a supernatural route if you really look at it. If you paid attention to the QR codes, which was something that was weekly, we were breaking them down. Everybody, you know, me, the guys, we were all breaking them down. Every note that was mentioned or we read and saw in each QR code was a note that was supposed to be sent to each member. The idea of the Wyatt Six was more or less to build on not something supernatural, but to take superstars who were who felt broken or out of place, and accept them for who they are and not change them or fix them. Now, all the wrestling fans, all the diehard wrestling fans knows exactly who each and every one of these people really are underneath this mask. You know, it was already a given. It's been rumored for months. We've been seeing the signs, everything. Right here we got, from right to left, we have Dexter Loomis. We have Uncle Howdy, a.k.a. Taylor Watunda. We have Eric Rowan with the hammer as the rabbit. We have Joe Gacy as, I believe he's supposed to be the pig, right?
Yeah, I think so.
And then, of course, we have Nikki Cross, which it hasn't been confirmed who she's supposed to be, because we know Sister Abigail in the past is wearing a black dress. Now, who this one can be, we don't know, but I'm sure it's a character we've seen in the Bray Wyatt storyline in the past somehow, somewhere. So,
I think it's the witch, isn't it?
Is it the witch?
Yeah.
But, you know, it's funny because, you know, they all have something that relates to them. Like Dexter Loomis was part of a family, but then that family kind of left him, so he was left in the dark. Therefore, he joined the Wyatt Six. Eric Rowan, his story is probably the outside of Taylor's. His is probably the second deepest out of all of them, because in his costume on Raw, he had a cool Easter egg referring back to Luke Harper in his Bludgeon Brother days, and that right there, that's a sad one because he is an original Wyatt family member, and he got to work with both of them. You know, they were all like brothers and everything, you know, and to see that he's lost both of them, you know, that's really hard on him. But to kind of his is kind of a deeper meaning of he felt out, you know, he felt lost after they died. So then he was kind of in the dark, and Taylor brought him back, you know, and so that's why he's got the Bludgeon Brothers, you know, sledgehammer, but he's got the Wyatt family Eric Rowan look. He's rocking the bunny. In the back, he's got the skull of his brother, Luke Harper. I just think everything about this, from every Easter egg, every detail, the way it was shot, you know, the reveal of everything. And I have the entire list of every superstar that was whacked backstage when you saw that. That's all people have been doing all day is breaking that down. Out of everyone that was part of that lineup in Gorilla to the reveal of Uncle Howdy, we have, from start to finish, Carmelo Hayes, Sami Zayn, and Gunther were in front of Eric Rowan. Braun Strowman and Seth Rollins were in the room with Dexter Loomis, and Chad Gable was in the room with both Uncle Howdy and Joe Gacy. So the way I looked at it, that's 3 hills and 3 faces. So there's not really a said movement as to where they're going. They can go anywhere. That's what I love about the mystery of it. My question to you, Sammy, where do they end up next? Do we got to wait weekly for Monday Night Raw to see them come up, or are these guys just going to show up anywhere?
Yeah, great question. I'll give you two answers. I'll give you what I would like to see, and I'll give you what I think will actually happen. I would like to see they can do whatever they want because they are who they are.
Exactly.
Meaning, they operate at their own. They move to the beat of their own drum.
Yeah.
What I think will happen is they'll just be Raw exclusive, just because it's hard to keep a storyline going between multiple shows. Not because viewers don't watch, because I think most people that watch SmackDown also watch Raw, but I think it's hard to keep good storylines and to keep them relevant without having too many separate storylines feeding into it.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely think it'll just be Raw exclusive, and it'll make them easier for touring, just because typically if you're on one show, then you for the live shows as well. And so unless they're just doing like vignettes and things of that sort, I think if you want them to actually compete in the ring, they have to be on one show.
Right. And I think that it's going to be interesting to see where this Wyatt Sick storyline goes. It's a bunch of lost people, and you were talking about the sixth member, and a lot of people, that's been on a lot of people's minds today. What if the sixth member is the Lantern, and that's Bray's soul?
That could be sick.
Because this is his idea, this is his vision, this is what it all started with, was his brain, that Bray Wyatt character, that Wyatt family faction back in the NXT days, the FCW days, bro. What if the sixth member is Wyatt and only Taylor can talk and hear him?
Oh, wow, that'd be fun.
I mean, that's just me. Obviously, there was talks about Alexa Bliss. We know that she was involved with the Wyatt storyline, probably one of the best Wyatt storylines out there with, the Fiend and the Firefly Funhouse. That was really fun. You and I were really on that one. Like, the rest of the fucking show could be shitty, but we made sure every single week to at least watch the Wyatt segment because we knew we were going to get some fire out of that one.
Yeah, it was going to be comic gold.
Dude, it's great. Yeah, that was just such a fun time in wrestling. But now to see what we are with the Wyatt Six, man, I mean, we were watching this live and just waiting for that build-up. Those last fucking 7 minutes, bro, we were just like, no fucking way. Like, they're going to end it this way and keep me waiting. Now I don't know when I'm going to see these guys again. That's the mystery behind it, right? They're just going to show up and cause chaos. My question now to you again is, are they going to be face or are they going to be heel?
I don't think they have to be either. I think they can be a neutral party. I don't think you have to prescribe them to one way or the other, just because I think there's opportunities for them to kind of just float in between, to be like kind of like an anti-baby face, kind of, because people are going to root for them regardless, just given the nature of Bray passing.
Well, you're not going to boo the Wyatt name. It's just as simple as that. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah, Luke passing. So there's a lot of, I think it would be very hard to turn them heel, just because I think there's just so much bad going into it, and by bad I mean just so much loss going into it.
Right.
And a lot of grief that has to be dealt with. So I don't think it would be very hard to turn them truly heel. But I definitely think they can be baby faces with heel tendencies. Obviously, they can just go beat the hell out of somebody. But they don't have to, cheat to win. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, because, the Wyatt family never did that either. Bray always, when Bray had a fair fight, he did a fair fight. And then his family wouldn't come in until after the fact that the match was over. But yeah. Bray always fought in fair fights. Tag team matches, they always fought fairly. They were just the Wyatt family. That's just what they were. They were he was the eater of worlds, and that family was there to cause chaos. And that's exactly what the Wyatt Six are here to do, is cause chaos. And
yeah, I definitely think that's going to be the play, is to allow them to cause chaos, but they don't have to be, they don't have to strictly just go after baby faces to do that.
Now,
I think they can go after heels, go after baby faces, doesn't matter. As long as the story
makes sense. Right. Now, looking forward in the future, as far like we don't, this is just based off our first impressions of them and everything. Do you see the opportunity for any members of this faction winning any titles?
See them not win a title for a little while. I'd like them to just
Build.
Yeah. Like, I don't think they need it, because I definitely think a title is either to elevate someone who's like a little bit lower up, or to like really just reward someone for like their hard work.
Right.
I definitely think they can just work in that mid card, maybe a couple main event matches, but they don't need to like chase the WWE title or the tag titles. Can you give that to them a year from now? Sure. But I don't think they need that at this moment to be successful.
Now, looking ahead as far as what factions we have in WWE right now, the Bloodline, you know, the Judgment Day, you know, we have a couple other handful here and there. Are every one of these factions, anyone in the WWE roster, no matter where you are, SmackDown, NXT, Raw, is everyone on check after this message sent from the Wyatt Six? Is no one safe? Like, no matter if you're good or you're bad, you're not safe. Like, what do you think? Like,
I think before I answer this question, I think we need to see them on TV for a month. Because, like, I don't know, I can't say that they're going to go after factions, if they're going after individual people. Are they going after people that have wronged them in the past? Because that's the more likely story, is who has wronged each of these individuals, and how do you rectify that? Not like, hey, let's get Bloodline versus Wyatt Six.
right.
Like, do I think they can lead up to something come November for Survivor Series? Please. I'd love to see a
Wyatt Six in the fucking War Games match would be so great.
That don't even need, it should be a traditional 5v5 a mixed tag version of a Survivor Series match. That would be fun. But yeah. I think we need more. I think I need more before I can start speculating on what they're.
I think this faction's probably going to be one that runs through the entire locker room. I think for a good amount of time they're going to be unstoppable until there's going to be that kind of hero character that comes up and tries to challenge that and take down the leader. You know, that's how this has to play out. Who that's going to be, I don't know. There's a lot of contenders. Now, my next question's going forward. Obviously, none of us can answer this until next week, but you know, let's see. What does it say? Is Nikki Cross supposed to be Sister Abigail? So who is Abby the Witch? Abby the Witch, I think. Actually, he makes a good point. Abby the Witch was the one that wore black.
Oh, is it? I don't remember.
She might be. Now, here's something I want to throw your way, too. They used to call Nikki Cross the Twisted Sister of NXT when she was Insanity. So to her to go back to that kind of character, where she was just causing chaos and just causing a menace to NXT, where she was like probably her best self, that's I think what they're going back to, and her to be that twisted sister. I mean,
I just want to go back. I really don't want to speculate on it. I just kind of want to enjoy this one, without having to go like, this is what they're gonna do, this is what they're gonna do, this is how we're gonna dream book it. Just because, like, I think there's so much lore. I think even prior to Bray's passing, like, he kind of made it known that there was a lot going on. There was a lot of stuff that he hadn't even figured out yet. So I think I think there's going to be a lot more questions with every answer, which is good. I think you can have well thought out storylines, but as you're thinking through them, you have to allow space to let the storyline breathe and be its own living creation.
Yeah, the final questions I'm only going to have going into Monday is each of these individuals that were attacked, how fucking pissed off are they going to be, and what do they have to say about this? I'm excited to see their reactions about it. I mean, because there were some big names on that, especially the one that shocked me the most, which was Braun Strowman. You know, him being part of the Wyatt family. That's where he debuted at. So, like, why are we attacking him? You know, Chad Gable was pretty obvious. Gunther, he's a heel. That was pretty obvious. But I don't see no reason to really attack him. He didn't really do anything. He's been kind of sticking to business. Seth Rollins is a little interesting. Carmelo Hayes, you know, he's a heel. So I'm excited to see what the connection is going to be with all these people and to see where this storyline goes. Are we going to get them? We're probably not going to get it all answered all at once, maybe one at a time. But, you know, I'm here for it. I can't wait to see this new faction. And we've been waiting months for this. An excellent debut. Showed off the costumes. Showed off the new masks. the same designer who designed all of Bray's stuff that we saw in the documentary designed all these costumes and masks. So shout out to that. I know they were extremely close, him and Bray, feeding each other ideas. I'm assuming him and Taylor got really close as well, you know, so for him to play a huge role in this and to see his work come to life and to bring these characters to life, I mean, it's ecstatic. And you know what? The possibilities are endless. They can constantly change up their masks and stuff for like special events or WrestleMania or something, you know, so that's why we're really going to WrestleMania 41 next year, to be honest with you now. That's my only reasoning at this point. I'm like, I want to see this in person. Like, Cody, yeah, that's cool. I've seen there, been there, done that. Wyatt Sick6, I've seen Punk a handful of times. I saw him at a...
Goosebumps.
Oh, Goosebumps
Raw.
for sure. I don't even care. I don't even care about The Rock. Like, I just want to see the Wyatt Sick6. Wyatt Sick6 gets involved with that match.
Yeah. I think we should cut to a music break. What do you think?
I'm for it. All right. When we come back, we'll talk Midsummer Scream again. Let's do it. All right, welcome back to Nights of Horror Radio with Black Uniforms and Edwig Frost for our bands, little FOAD and Mary Jane. That's what we were just listening to right now. Midsummer Scream, Sammy. I know this is our favorite convention every single year. We go to it. We have a great time. A lot to talk about with you, buddy. A lot of things that I know you and I are both going to be looking hella excited to be doing this year. And I'm looking forward to it as well. Let's start off to what we're seeing as far as the Hall of Shadows goes so far. Now, this year's theming Spirits and Legends by Cal Haunts this year. Cal Haunts is doing, or not Cal, I'm sorry, not Cal Haunts. Fear Farm. Fear Farm is doing the facade now. That should be a lot of fun. Looking forward to that. But within the Hall of Shadows, we got Fear Farm Duskfall Hollow. That should be a lot of fun. This is the one I think you and I are going to be probably the most hyped for, which is Gears of Fear. Explore the legacy of Lionsgate horror. This is going to be put on by none other than Plague Productions.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
So, I mean, you know, cookbook certified already, right? Like, we haven't even gone through it. It's probably going to be a banger. I mean, we love the cookbook, so, you know, looking forward to that. I think that's probably going to be the top of the hype list for the Hall of Shadows this year, right there. But Direct Society's doing Scooby-Doo and the Carnival of Chills, so that should be a lot of fun. It's really up there, bro. I mean, you know, we grew up on the Scooby-Doo, man, and that's a lot of fun. So to see that translate into a haunt, I think us as haunt fans have asked for that for years. Because you could do an adult Scooby-Doo. It's possible. It's very possible.
It needs to be an adult. I take kids level version. I love.
Oh yeah, I mean, you can. What I'm saying is, you could do it at an adult level scariness and still sell it well, you know, and be a kid thing. You know what I mean? But you can make it scary. Yeah. The haunt with no name yet. Now with more ghosts. So that's going to be, they always do a nice little yard display right there. Very much looking forward to that. Raw the Dead is going to be doing his photo experience. So if you want to go get some photos done, highly suggest it. He's a very talented photographer, so check that out. Santa Ana Haunt Hunting Grounds. Good old Chewy. Chewy's doing the hunting grounds this year. We're going to get Chewy on the show this season, or this summer before Midsummer Scream. Talk to him about Santa Ana Haunt, what we can expect from Santa Ana Haunt this year, and all that. So, got to meet Chewy earlier in February. Very nice guy. Can't wait to go see the haunt this year. And, of course, they're going to be having a Happy Hauntings bar as well. So they're going to be doing a little bar in the Hall of Shadows. Taking a little page out of the Dark Harbor book, are we? I liked it. Love it. Pizza Planet Truck and Art Sideshow are going to be doing the real Sideshow. So they're going to have their own little display. Go check Art Sideshow and the Pizza Planet Truck. Good friends of ours. Realm of Shadow will be doing the Labyrinth of Lost Souls. I mean, that sounds interesting as it is, you know. I mean, that sounds really fun. Haunted Car Wash has the 360 photo op experience. Cal Haunts is doing something called the Phantom Express with looks like a ghost train, so that could be a lot of fun. 13th Floor Entertainment Group, Magic of the Jack-O-Lanterns Los Angeles preview. Pretty cool. And last but not least, as the most recent announcement as of 5 hours ago, Halizondo Haunt, the Innocent at Hope's Edge. That looks pretty cool. Stacked Hall of Shadows this year. On top of that, Decayed Brigade performance. I mean, what are we looking forward to? I mean, things sound pretty fun. I mean, there was a lot of good things on that list. What are you looking forward to the most, man?
Yeah, Lionsgate, you throw Plague at anything, and we are fanboys, and we are biased, and we recognize that, but it's okay. We love the cookbook certified. And then you throw Lionsgate, which is just an absolute monster in the horror film industry, so being able to take a look into that, I'm excited to see what that'll end up looking like. Fear Farm, who've put on amazing facades year over year at their own haunts, and usually are just a complete highlight of the Hall of Shadows every year, taking over the facade. Really excited to see what they're doing. Obviously, Cal Haunts has killed it over the last 5 years, but now handing the baton to Fear Farm. I'm excited to see what they do. But I'm also excited and relieved to know that Cal Haunts isn't just leaving completely, that they're doing their own thing. A haunted ghost train, as you mentioned. I don't know what that's going to entail and how they're going to utilize the space, but count me in. I'm excited. Obviously, Scooby-Doo. I have a soft spot for Scooby-Doo. I think anyone that likes horror now probably liked Scooby-Doo when they were 4 years old. Probably a safe bet. So I love Scooby-Doo, and Direct Society killed it. I mean, last year with the Twilight Zone. Not last year.
Yeah, I think
Yes.
did I take you to that one? Did we go to that one?
No, no, but I went through it at
Oh,
the
okay.
Hall of Shadow.
Yeah,
And that was
that was
yeah.
fun.
I went through it with you, and I went through it by myself. I think, which was super fun. Um, Great one, and they always kill it. I love Trek Society. And just go back to it even before that. Their take on the Suicide Forest I thought was super fun.
Yeah.
So we love Trek. And so I think there's just a lot to go with. You have some of your staples, Art Sideshow. You have Brawl of the Dead. So this is just some of the things you've come to know if you've gone to Midsummer Scream many years, or whether it's your first time. I think you can be excited
Find
for
something.
what's to come.
Yeah. We're also going to have a very busy weekend because of all these goddamn panels as well. All these beautiful panels that we get all of our beautiful information from. Real quick, out of all the theme parks and haunted attractions, major and independent, Queen Mary's Dark Harbor, Halloween Horror Nights, Knott's Scary Farm, Castle Dark, 13th Floor Entertainment, Six Flags Fright Fest, and the Winchester Mystery House. Saturday, Six Flags Fright Fest, Castle Dark, and Queen Mary's Dark Harbor. And Sunday, Knott's Scary Farm, Winchester Mystery House, 13th Floor Entertainment, and Universal Studios Halloween Horror Nights. It is going to be a already busy weekend on top of other panels that have gotten announced that I know we're going to want to go check out and see. Man, I mean, the high hopes for me is let's bring back the old school style of them Queen Mary Dark Harbor panels. Am I right? Like, those were hilarious.
Yeah, I think it's super exciting that even though 13th Floor is putting on Queen Mary, they're not just looping it in like they did with Shacktoberfest in the previous years.
Right.
That they're giving it its own panel, its own area to breathe. If we can get the captain, if we can get the ringmaster, if we can just bring all the shenanigans that was the Queen Mary Dark Harbor panel, I think that's going to be a great way to end our Saturday evening. So super excited to see how that plays out. And then Sunday, I feel like you're stuck in the Grand Ballroom because you have not scared in the Grand Ballroom. From Home Haunt to Pro Haunt, which we are super excited for. Many friends of the channel on there. People that have been on the channel. I don't know if they would consider us friends. I think they're friends of ours. So.
Well, I mean, we love, whatchamacallit, Jacob. Jacob's the man. Ted's great. We like Ted. We're big fans of John.
He's been on the channel. So, I mean, people have been on the channel.
I'm very interested to see what the people from Fear Farm have to say. I've been very fascinated with their haunt. It's just a little bit of a drive for us, but that's about it.
Yeah, super excited to see how that plays out. 13th Floor, obviously, whatever they're going to do with LA Haunted Hayride, because they're incorporated with Delusion. I know that they're moving to a new location this year, so excited to see how that plays out. And then always, the way to end Horror Nights. John Murdy's going to come. He's going to be slotted for an hour. He's going to go an hour and a half. He's probably going to get in trouble, but it's going to be well worth it.
It's going to be, I'll tell you guys right now, I'm just looking at this weekend, you're going to want to get to these panels early and get in line early. Halloween Horror Nights is I think last year they actually they had to turn people away because they were at max capacity inside the ballroom. And it is insane every single year to see this panel grow and grow more and more up until where I'm seeing lines go out the goddamn door of the convention center.
As we say each and every year, get a gold bat. Just do it. You're going to be thankful. If you want to be in panels, if you want to get through the Hall of Shadows, if you want to make the most of your weekend, do that. If you say money's a little tight, obviously get your general admission ticket, no shame. Just know that if you want to get to Horror Nights, if you want to get to Knott's Scary Farm, you're going to want to be in line at least an hour early.
Right.
Because there's no guarantee. Just because you have a ticket to the event does not mean you're guaranteed entry to every panel. The Grand Ballroom only sits a few thousand people, so you're going to want to be part of that few thousand people.
100% agree, man. I mean, it's going to be a stacked weekend. On top of that, you know, you got a lot of celebrity meet and greets. Elvira herself is going to be there, Cassandra Peterson. So that's going to be good. You got Tony Todd going to show up. The voice of Ghostface is showing up. Derek Myers, who iconically played Jason Voorhees, is showing up. The 2 stars of Paranormal Activity are showing up. You know, and a lot of little workshops that are going to be fun, from Home Haunt to Prom Haunt. That's the other panel we were just talking about with John Murdy and all the other amazing, talented people in the haunt industry. Ted Doherty, Rick Baker, Jake Larson. You know, Rick West is moderating the panel, so that's going to be amazing.
#1 friend of the channel.
Queen Mary is doing the haunted offerings of Queen Mary, so all the haunted different experiences like paranormal walk tours and stuff that they offer, they're going to be having their own thing. So Queen Mary is actually going to have 2 panels that weekend, so good for them to get the business out there. I think it's a great idea. Let's save the Queen, man. God save the Queen. And this is cool. They just announced this. They're going to do a 1-hour stand-up comedy show at the Horror Nerd Comedy at the Hollywood Lab Improv on June 21st, and they'll also be returning to Midsummer Scream on Saturday, July 27th, for an announcement with a different announcement for comedians. But they want you guys to go check them out this weekend. Or no, is it this weekend? Yeah, this weekend if you guys have some free time. 7:30 p.m. June 21st at the Hollywood Lab Improv, hosted by Samantha Hale. And it seems like it's got a really good lineup of comedians, up-and-coming comedians probably. Zach Holmes, however, is the one I recognize. If you guys know who Zach Holmes is, he was just in the last Jackass movie that came out, Jackass Forever. Yeah, he jumped into a cactus. That's the way I can describe it. That's one of.
I knew I recognized his name, but I just didn't remember where I knew him from. But now it all makes sense.
It all makes sense. But yeah, it looks like they're going to be doing something special for Midsummer Scream weekend. We know that the Improv House is right across the street from the convention center, so they could be doing a special discounted show right after night 2 or something. So keep your eye out, man. They're going to have an announcement really soon of what comedians are going to be joining them that weekend and joining us for Midsummer Scream weekend. Should be a lot of fun. I mean, Sammy, the list goes on, and not even, we haven't even gotten a vendor list yet. We haven't even gotten, you know, the remaining panels yet. And there's probably more guests to be announced. I mean, we are a little under, you know, a month and a half away from fucking Midsummer Scream already, dude. It's that time of the year. This is for us, the official start of haunt season right here for us. For Nights of Horror, this is where haunt season kicks off for us. This is where we get all the information. We get our big fix until the haunt season starts, and then it's just one haunt after the other, man. How excited are you on a scale of 1 to 10 for Midsummer Scream? I know this is a great time for us every single year.
9.7.
There's always that 0.3 you leave out, huh?
Always.
Yeah, I'm excited, bro. It's always a great time. It's great to catch up with people that we haven't seen in you know, few months or something, or talked to in a while, and it's just great to just be there. It's just a great vibe, atmosphere, all that fun stuff. But I'm looking forward to it. I think it's gonna be a great weekend. I think we're gonna have a lot of fun with that one and whatnot. Horror news, man, we got a lot of it, but we'll probably cover some of it because I'm trying to keep this around an hour and a half. That way we have a decently good show right there. For first and foremost, Abigail finally gets a Blu-ray release date within July, coming with deleted and extended scenes, featurettes, and Radio Silence audio commentary. I'm a huge fan of Radio Silence, and Abigail was a great fucking film.
Yeah, Abigail was so much fun. I had a great time watching that movie.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to be able to watch it again, because I know that someone whose Vudu account I have access to may or may not be buying that film right around its release, so I'm excited to be able to watch it.
I already have it on Vudu.
Oh, is it already on Vudu?
Yeah, it's already been out in digital for like months.
Oh, well, it proves how much I watch Vudu. So.
It's now called Fandango at Home.
Oh.
Sorry.
Cool.
Fandango bought it out now.
That's why I don't watch it. I don't support Fandango.
Oh.
He hasn't been good since he was in the WWE.
Hey, you remember that movie? Did you watch that movie Smile?
No.
Well, they're making a sequel to it.
I know. They had some of my favorite marketing of all time, though.
I wanted to bring that up. Now, I just read a report that there's marketing already starting for this fucking movie again with the same kind of marketing scheme. Are they do I got to start paying attention to baseball games and shit now just to find this again? Because that was actually pretty fun marketing. I'll be honest with you.
That marketing is top notch. I don't know whose marketing I liked more. Smile, because they just sent random people to sporting events and sat them right behind the camera and just smiled the entire time? Or was it Megan, because they just sent that damn people dressed as a damn robot to random places?
Yeah.
Which is just so funny.
What about the Strangers marketing was pretty good too.
I didn't know. What did they do?
Well, so when they were marketing Strangers Chapter 1, they would go to they were going to they went to Coachella, they went to all these big events and festivals, and they just stood the three of them in the crowd right there. And just would shoot them from afar. And actually people were actually starting to video it, getting freaked out on TikTok and stuff, but they were going around different parts of the world. They were at Coachella, they were at Stagecoach, they were at all these festivals, all these different parts of the world, and they were just standing in the crowd at all these events and stuff and just blending in, but they were all wearing their costumes and stuff for the marketing of this film. I thought it was incredible.
That's really cool. I didn't see that.
Yeah, it was good, but if Smile can bust the repeat for Smile 2, which is going to be in theaters October 18th, 2024, so we're getting it this year.
Oh, wow. I didn't even know they were already filming.
I guess so. And what time more than ever would be the greatest time to do marketing than on national television in front of millions of baseball fanatics that are going to catch it? I mean, you throw them back in the baseball fields again, I mean, it's going to be magical, to say the least.
Yeah, and if you throw them on a football game, and if My Queen is there at that football game too, you're going to get even better marketing. So.
Oh, God.
I didn't say anything. If you know, you know.
At least you're not a Chiefs fan. That's all that matters.
Oh, no.
Hey. James McAvoy, man, doing another horror movie. The last time he did a horror movie was Split, and it was pretty damn good, if you ask me.
Yeah, and he's doing See No Evil, which is a remake of a remake.
Speak No Evil, actually.
Speak No Evil, my bad.
Something's not right with him is the caption. He got a new poster for him of him just giving the shush. Speak No Evil in theaters September 13th. It's coming out Friday the 13th, huh?
Thank you.
Shush. Thank you. That should be good. Hey, Jordan Peele, our favorite director, buddy. When's the last time we got was it Nope? Came out in 22?
Yeah, I have my Blu-ray up there somewhere.
You're a big Jordan Peele guy.
I do. I own his 3-film collection now.
Best movie of all time, Us, though?
I wouldn't say it's the best movie of all time.
Well, I'm talking about of his trilogy for you.
Of his trilogy, yeah, I think Us is the best of the trilogy.
I have to agree with that statement.
And it's probably one of my top 5 horror films of all time.
It's a good one.
Maybe top 3.
Well, Untitled fourth movie from Jordan Peele got its release date, and that's all we were given was October 23rd, 2026. So we're looking at a Halloween release date potentially. Or actually, it's going to be around Halloween. But what is the movie is the bigger question. We have to probably wait. We probably won't get that information until next year. But he's got his idea ready to go. We know him. He takes his sweet time. This will be the 4th film directed, produced, and written by Jordan Peele. And he'll probably have another short title because they all do. Imagine he throws us a curveball this time. It's actually going to be a long title.
Get Out. No. Yeah, they're all short. Yeah. I don't know. And my favorite part about walking into a Jordan Peele film is I think it is one thing and it is completely different. So
yeah. Nope threw me a little curveball. I was whatever about it at the end.
I thought it was good. I haven't rewatched it, but I thought it was good.
I haven't rewatched it too. I more praise that movie for how they shot it, as far as doing all the night scenes during filming it during the day, and how he figured out a technology. If you watch the behind the scenes, he figured out a technology to shoot night shots during the day, and so every night shot in that film is shot during the day. And I was like, how the fuck did you guys manipulate the sky to make it look like it was nightfall? I don't know what they did, but that's why I praise that movie, is because of the fact that they're one of the first movies to use that technology and do that. So
that's crazy.
Yeah. So I'm excited to see what he comes up with for this next film. I mean, this guy is constantly changing the game and adding new things to the game. And he did it with Nope. He did it with Us. He changed it with Get Out. Let's see what he does with this fourth film. He's done now. What would you consider Get Out? Because like I consider like obviously Nope falls in the alien genre. Us was more like I would say that would be more of a science fiction kind of thing too, based around like evil clones essentially that the government was secretly working on. And then Get Out, what would you call that? More like a would you call that like a cult kind of movie? And essentially,
Yeah, it's a cult, but it's also kind of sci-fi too if you think about it, because they're using technology to take the souls from, transfer souls from one body to another body.
I thought they were only transferring. It was only brain transfer though, wasn't it?
Was it? I don't remember. I haven't seen Get Out in a few years now. Maybe I'll rewatch that tomorrow.
It's a good
I have
one.
no plan.
It's a good
I
one.
have no plan.
You should do a whole trilogy.
Just watch the whole trilogy
Just
tomorrow.
do it. Binge it.
Maybe, we'll see. If I do.
But that leaves the question now, what's going to be this fourth movie? And I'm excited to find out. We'll probably find out in the next year, or maybe by the end of the year, we'll get a casting update or something. He always casts some good people in his movies, so I'm excited to see.
I love his casting.
Yeah, always good. And yeah, I can't wait. For someone who went from a comedic route to a very serious horror route, like it blows me away to see this guy doing what he's doing. So
yeah, and what I love most about his films is that they are funny.
Yeah, they got comedy. Because he writes it realistically. He's like, this is how people would act in these scenarios. It's just as simple as that. Like, I'm gonna give it to you real. Like, it's gonna be a creepy movie. It's gonna be weird, but I'm gonna give you the real reactions of how the real world would react to this. And I'm like, that's, I think, what we need more than anything is the realism of, yeah, if I saw that shit, I think I'd be yelling nope too. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Jordan Peele, and he's killing it with Monkey Paw Productions, doing a ton of producing with projects as well. And then when he gets a little time to his own, he finally steps out and does his own movie. So I'm excited to see what he's got next, man. A Quiet Place, another one of your favorites. I know that. I know you like The Quiet Place.
I've seen zero Quiet Place in my life. Zero.
I don't know why. Have you not seen that? It's a good movie.
You know what my least favorite thing is?
Silence?
Yes. Why am I scared in every horror film I watch?
Yeah, but you can watch it on a TV with a controlled volume.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch it on like volume 2, subtitles only.
It's not as scary as you think. It's more of a sci-fi if you really look at it, because they're aliens. So.
Yeah, I just don't like tension. And then I also heard in the first movie she steps on a nail, and count me out on that.
I'll do you one. I'll take it even further. She steps on a nail while her water broke.
Yeah, she's got to be in silence. Nope.
And she has to give birth in silence in the basement with the aliens literally walking upstairs. It's a good movie.
No,
it's a good movie.
Fine. I trust it's great, but it's just not for me.
Oh, man, you're missing out, bro. You're gonna be so lost. How are you gonna go through that maze?
I'm not going to probably.
Oh, that's true. You already told me you're probably not coming out. Heyo. You're gonna miss Horror Nights, bro. What if this is gonna be a banger year too?
Maybe I'll go. I don't know. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Well, they're making a video game of A Quiet Place, so that should be fun. I'm looking forward to that.
I'll play that on silent too.
We'll get Sammy's in his reactions.
Sure.
How about we wrap it with this one right here? Your future wife, Samara Weaving.
Is she my future wife? I don't know.
I think you have a crush on her.
I think she's a great actress. I loved her in Ready or Not.
I loved her in Ready or Not. I loved her in Bill and Ted.
She was in Bill and Ted?
She was in Bill and Ted Face the Music.
I didn't see it.
Yeah, it was a good movie. I think she was Bill's daughter. Yeah. Was she in Scream? She was. I think in the very beginning of Scream 7 or 6. I'm sorry, Scream 6.
She was in one of them, yeah.
She was like in the very beginning because it's radio silence. Yeah. Anyway, Samara Weaving wants to fight Freddy Krueger in a Nightmare on Elm Street movie, and I'm for it.
Sure.
I don't know necessarily make her the new Nancy Thompson, but make her own character and put her up against Freddy Krueger and then bring Nancy in like a Laurie Strode 2018 Halloween kind of like character.
Yeah.
I'm for that. Well, I think that's going to do it for today. A lot of information, man. A lot of good stuff coming, and we are super excited for this summer. Only to keep it grinding out. Any last words you'd like to say before we sign off?
Stay golden, pony boy.
Stay golden, pony boy, is what Sammy says. If you guys enjoyed today's episode of Nights of Horror Radio, make sure to follow us right here on twitch.tv/The Nights of Horror for new live shows every single week covering all your haunt and horror fixes, as well as catch the replay on our YouTube channel at The Nights of Horror the very next day up on our YouTube channel. You can catch the replay as to what we talked about and everything. And then also follow all of our social medias and use the hashtag NOH Radio for all your favorite moments and all that of Nights of Horror Radio. With all that being said, I'm your host, Anthony. With me, the OG, Sammy. And we'll see you guys next week for another episode of Nights of Horror Radio.
Peace.